barred, the doors locked. They asked each other in surprise, how should we enter, seeing that such a multitude of doors stand between us and the king? They studied the gate and pondered. They saw nothing but wall upon wall, and thus they stood for a long time. We see the world. We see the world from the outside. The gate is locked. We can't get in. It doesn't allow us in. It just seems to be wall upon wall upon wall. How do we touch that inner level? How do we break through? So the king's son came and spoke to them. Know you not that my Father is exceedingly wise and skilled in the art of achizat enayim? Not sleight of hand, but optical illusion. And that's what it translates as literally. The grabbing of the eye. The grabbing of the eyes. Achizat enayim. You get that for a second. That Hashem is such a master that He created a world in such a way that it seems so real to us. And it has to be that. It's a very necessary illusion, I would call it. A very important illusion. That our souls could come down into this world and have certain experiences that would not be available to us otherwise. So it's an achizat enayim, it's an illusion, but it's a very important illusion. I would say it's slightly different than the concept of illusion in the East. It's a Jewish concept of illusion. He's not trying to fool us. He's trying to give us almost like a training ground to come to Him in a way that we could only do so by our own efforts. Behold, the entire palace has no real existence. As the Rambam says in the beginning of the Hilchot Yesodei Torah. So the Rambam says that everything else has relative existence. Only Hashem has absolute existence. That whole chapter there is basically, it's all the same as what we're saying here. So what they're trying to do, and I'll continue in a moment, what they're trying to do is to lift us out of believing in the illusion per se, and lift us up above the illusion just a little bit, so that we would come back into the illusion, that is to say our physical bodies, which we prize and value and love very much, and preserve. And our job on this planet is to preserve and enhance life, which is what distinguishes what the Torah is from all other religions. You don't denigrate the physical. So when we come back into these beautiful bodies and this beautiful world, Shamayim Misapitiv El, with the heavens to speak the glory of God, our job is to come in with a little bit of an extra consciousness of, I understand now, it's not what it seems. It's much deeper than it seems. And to do that as much as we can until we begin to understand that our relationships are also, that everything we have, every object or possession we have, every relationship we have is a godly event. And the food that we eat, right? It's very hard to maintain this conceptually and philosophically. That's why the parable is an excellent vehicle for transmitting this. And then what we need is a way of maintaining it in our lives. Because what do you do with such knowledge? Why is Judaism so emphatic that it's ein od milavado? Maybe you're not getting it in school, right? People tell me, why didn't we hear this in school? Again, maybe it wasn't time. Maybe the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s. But now, we have to know it, and our kids have to know it in a way that's healthy and balanced. I would say that it's the revival of prophetic awareness among the Jewish people that were promised that will happen before Mashiach comes. Very important how we get it. It should be done in a way that's fun, that's joyous, that this knowledge will give us an edge, right? A real good edge. It gives you a tremendous power to your emunah. We'll talk more about that in a moment. So I stopped in the third paragraph where it says, behold, the entire palace has no real existence. And I went to the Rambam. We're going on. There's no wall. There's no partition. There's no gate, no door. It's all an optical illusion. It bears the semblance of reality to he who looks upon it. This is a quote from the Hebrew. It bears the semblance of reality to he who looks upon it, but in truth here the space is empty. It stretches unlimited in all directions. My father, the king, behold, he stands here before you. I think it's an amazing moment in the parable. We don't have to go anywhere. It's such a deep thing that he's saying in a way that everybody can access it. Yeah, you thought that you'd have to go through all those walls, or climb over those moats, or dodge all those scary animals. Yeah, they're real, but when you're connected to the inner level of reality, everything changes. Let's develop it a little bit more. He goes on here with an interesting thing he finishes. This is from a book that I do not have, Shalom Al Yisrael. I do not know the author, but it's quoted in a bona fide book that I do have called Sefer Toldot HaPoskim, and it's a quote word for word. And so it is an attempt to communicate the Baal Shem Tov's apprehension of reality, how deep he went. It ends and says, thus all the worlds and all they contain, right, out of the parable now into the what's called the Nimshal in Hebrew. All the worlds and all they contain, all that is felt, everything pertaining to nature or even the mind, which may appear to us as a thing outside of his blessedness and separate from him, all these have no essential independent existence. It rather depends solely upon the spirit of his mouth. He and they are one, except that God, so to speak, secreted himself in all manner of garments, disguises, and contractions, by means of which he hides himself from his creatures. Where is he hiding? Hiding outside of the world. He's transcendent above the world. He's also immanent in the world. He's the hide-and-seek God. He's the one who's the Melech HaOlam, the king who hides in his world. He's not just in the middle. I like to go to the alternate version, one of the alternate versions, which is here in the next paragraph down, not indented. One of the alternate versions of there, they all try to enter, but the very wonders of the palace are a diversion to prevent them from getting to the king in the throne room. Only the king's son, it's a different way the parable is told. Here, the king's son also has to get to the king. It's not like he's standing there and telling us, pontificating. He also is struggling, and we are the king's son. We finally managed to get past all the walls and the moats and the mazes and the guards and the fierce animals into the palace and through all the rooms to finally enter the king's throne room. Joyous to have reached his destination, he bows and asks permission to tell his father, the king, about all the obstacles he's had to overcome. So he's standing here now. After hearing all his trials and tribulations, the king lovingly tells him to turn around to view the entire course of his journey from where he is now standing. So looking in towards the Holy of Holies, looking in from the outside, it seems so far away, so distant, it's so hard to get there. Even the rooms in the palace are rooms filled with beautiful books, manuscripts, ancient tomes, art, everything you'd ever want. But as you're on the way into the throne room, all of that, as beautiful and as important as it is, it's a diversion. It's the main thing is to get to the inside. And then to turn around when you're there and to look out from there. It's all different. As it says here, all you see is endless expanses of godliness. Where's the palace? Where's the moat? Where's the animals? He says to the king. And the king said, I had to make it look like that. I had to make it seem like I wasn't with you. I was with you every second of the way. I was with you every time you needed me. Which is one of the messages we know are true. It seems like we're alone. It seems.